I allow myself to step ahead into a new beginning. That follows along with our talk for this week, actually for this month. Throughout the month, we are joining the Centers for Spiritual Living in exploring how to live the highest idea of our lives. We open to the highest idea of our lives through a spiritual practice of visioning, or the practice of curiosity, awareness, and mindfulness. As we open up to the impress of spirit, this opening allows us to tap into the realm of possibilities much greater than we could imagine for ourselves. Today's talk is about committing to transformation, making that commitment to transformation, and to walking our own path, guided by that still small voice that we spoke of last week. Our spiritual practice is about personal transformation. We are transformed through this experience of opening ourselves as avenues of awareness and of being receptive to the divine love and wisdom that resides within all of us. Over the last couple of weeks when I've spoken about the acts of releasing and embracing and embodying this idea of a greater, higher idea. These acts transform our lives when we make a commitment to it. When we make a commitment to the question, what is seeking to emerge as my life? That commitment is a commitment to transformation. Today is Palm Sunday. This is the beginning of the Christian Holy Week. Good Friday and Easter, the three, from Palm Sunday through Easter, they're the culmination of the Lenten season. This is a 40-day period that truly is all about transformation. Because during the Lenten season, the process of releasing, and it's about renewing our hearts and minds into the realm of spirit. This is a 40 days of intention. But Ernest Holmes reminds us that transformation is not something that we just do once a year, but rather, or even a 40-day practice, but rather it is something that we do daily. We practice a daily renewal. He says, I die daily. And I remember when I first read that, I thought, what? But I am dying daily to those old beliefs and opening myself up that I may be transformed. That's what this whole walk of Palm Sunday is about. So today I want to finish talking about the process of release and renewal and moving towards this next step of transformation. This threefold stage of being curious and aware and mindful, and how the story of Jesus's final days show us the way through the question and into the manifestation of spirit as our life. Today's spiritual principle, today's teaching, is that there is a power for good in the universe, and it uses me. It manifests through me. There is a power for good in the universe that is seeking to be expressed through me as me. And so when I ask the question, what is seeking to emerge as my life? I know that it is this power of good. And in asking the question, I engage in a spiritual practice which allows me to transcend my own limited habitual thinking and aligns myself with the infinite possibilities of my life. I invite you to join me in asking this question: what is seeking to emerge as my life? This asking of the question is a practice of opening to the highest idea as us. Through curiosity, awareness, and mindfulness, we make ourselves available, and we become a place of deep listening, where we can hear and feel and see and catch God's idea for our life. So what is seeking to emerge as my life? The answer is already complete in the universal mind, in that one mind of spirit. The answer is there. And everything that is necessary to fulfill the question is already there. By asking the question, by being in that place of curiosity, it is our opportunity to be willing and able to allow the answer to manifest through our lives. So going quickly through 3 points about this. First of all, it is the point of asking the question of the highest idea. We are being called to a higher level of consciousness. When we die daily, when we are going through this transformation, it is a transformation of our consciousness, of our understanding of spirit. We are being called to this higher level of consciousness that knows that there is a power for good in the universe and that it is seeking to use me, it is seeking to use you to create more good, more peace, more harmony. To create, as we say, a world that works for everyone. It's said that we cannot solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that created it. I think it was Albert Einstein who said you can't keep doing this same experience over and over and over and expect different results. You have to change something. And what we need to change is letting go and releasing. We participate in spiritual practices in order to go beyond our own personal desires and to tap into that infiniteness of spiritual wisdom that is our very own consciousness. We open to the highest idea and we align our consciousness with our divine purpose, which is to love and to express that love in our own unique way. The second step is releasing and embracing. Because the vision, because this highest idea that we are inviting to emerge as our life is already complete in the mind of God, our work is simply to become a more effective delivery system. And this is where our personal transformation comes in. Spiritual growth is about letting go, releasing old ideas about ourselves and erroneous beliefs about life in order for the vision, in order for this highest idea to manifest in our lives. And as we spoke about last week, we need to embrace it, we need to embody it, we need to become it. We know that we cannot experience anything that we are not willing to embrace in consciousness. God can only do for us what God can do through us, through our understanding. In doing the work of releasing and embracing, we are transformed and we come into alignment with vision, with this higher ideal. But once we have that higher idea, we really need to commit and have a willingness to move forward on it. In order for the highest idea of our life to unfold, we must be willing to transform our consciousness and be willing to have our life transformed, however that looks. We commit to this transformation by our willingness to do the spiritual work of releasing. That we have been guided through our practice of listening, of meditation, of prayer. And we embrace that which we have been guided to embody. We become it. We commit to our spiritual growth and our transformation in order that the vision may unfold as us. There is, I don't think, any more powerful story of commitment and transformation as what we have in the Christian story of Jesus with Palm Sunday, the Holy Week, which culminates in Good Friday and Easter. This is truly a map for us. It is a guide for us on how to walk this path, this transformation. It is often said that Jesus was not an exception, but rather an example for us to follow. In the final days of his life, Jesus taught us some of the greatest lessons: faith, trust, forgiveness. In these final days, Jesus was living the question, what is seeking to emerge as my life? As he moved through these final days of his life, he was living a life guided by spirit. I'm not going to go into every day and the full accounting, but if you want to read about the full accounting of activities that take place between Palm Sunday and Easter, I invite you to read the Gospel of Mark, starting with chapter 11. And it will take you through these days step by step, because each day there is a process of faith. There is a process of questioning. And there is a process of just letting go and trusting. So I just want to remind you that I will do on Good Friday service at noon, we'll be talking more about the questioning and the final letting go. But for today, let's take a look at the activities of Palm Sunday, because it truly is a guide for walking our own path. So let me set this up. For those of you who perhaps are not of the Christian tradition as deeply as I have been influenced by it. Palm Sunday is the Sunday where Jesus rides triumphantly into Jerusalem. It is the beginning of Passover. Jerusalem is a walled city. And what is interesting to note is that there are two ceremonial processions that happen simultaneously. There is Jesus riding in from the east. And Pontius Pilate is arriving into Jerusalem from the west. This is two different ideas. Everything about Palm Sunday, everything about the Holy Week has so much symbolism to it. We have the procession of Jesus, which is the procession of the spiritual, and we have Pontius Pilate, the Roman, who is of the world, coming in. And it is into Jerusalem, the city of David, where these two worlds, these two experiences come together. As Jesus is coming into Jerusalem, he is fulfilling his purpose. He is living the question. He is doing what he came here to do. He is also riding into Jerusalem in celebration, in joyful expectancy. Because he knows that death is not permanent. He knows that while the human body may be released, spirit is infinite. Symbolically, Jerusalem is our hearts and our mind. Jerusalem is the center. It is the city of David. It is the center of the Jewish community. Jerusalem also is symbolic of peace. It is the nerve center. And it is from this point that spirit sends out its radiance to all parts of the body. So when we are riding into Jerusalem, we are truly riding in to the heart of the divine. The time period is Passover. It's feast time. This is symbolic of that receptive state of mind towards spiritual good, that when we get deep down into the silent recesses of our soul, we realize the stillness and the sweetness of the divine. This is where we find the peace of God. This is where we celebrate. As we've been talking about release and renewal, we're talking about curiosity. We've been talking about awareness. We're talking about a willingness of being receptive to good, to feast on the very bounty of the divine. Passover, this feast time, this time of Jesus coming into Jerusalem, is a time of curiosity, awareness, mindfulness. It is a time where Jesus is walking the path of letting go, being receptive, and knowing that in the transformation there is renewal. In the story of Palm Sunday, in the story of Good Friday, there are many characters. What's important to understand as we read this is to know that we are every one of those characters. And as we walk our path, we need to identify where we are, who we are, but we also need to identify as we walk our path of who is walking the path with us. As we're allowing our own personal transformation, who is with us? So let's look at some of the characters in this story of the week. We have Jesus, who is guided by Spirit and knows exactly what to do. He has been to the desert, he's been to the mountain, he has spent time in quiet reflection. He knows what greater idea is being called forth for him. He is followed by his disciples. Now, the word disciple is a student, someone who is learning. But as students, they question what is happening. And they become confused and afraid. This teacher, this person that they are looking up to is walking into Jerusalem, right into the thick of the Romans. And he tells them that he knows he's going to die. And that confuses them. But they are students. They are there to learn. And then there is the crowd, the masses of people. Many of them are attracted by the idea of something better. They're attracted by Jesus, who they're claiming as their king. Some of them are attracted by Pontius Pilate, the Romans. You know, the shiny, bright armor of the Romans, all the glitter, the crowd. They're the ones who are always looking for something shiny. You know, their attention flits from here to there because, oh, here's a shiny penny. Oh, here's a shiny penny. Maybe this is a better idea. And then there are the Pharisees. They're the naysayers. They're the ones who are threatened by any challenge to the norm. And then there's the Romans, who represent that which is secular of the world. As we move through this process of these two worlds coming together, and we read the full story of Palm Sunday, and we read about the activities in the temple and the arrest of Jesus and the eventual crucifixion. You know, we can always say, well, what can I take away from that? What does this have to do with me today? Remember, we're seeking transformation. We're seeking to know what higher idea is emerging in my life. So one of the questions, another question that we can ask is, who am I? Am I a follower? Am I one of the crowd? Am I distracted by shiny pennies, new ideas, thinking that this thing over here is better than this that I have? Am I a follower? Do I get wrapped up in the questions and in my own confusion? Or am I living in the presence of Christ? Am I allowing the Christ consciousness to lift me up? Am I guided by spirit, divine wisdom, and joyful expectancy? Who am I? Which one of these characters am I? The next piece of this, as we go through our spiritual practice, as we go through our transformation, as we seek to lift up our consciousness, we all must ask, who is around me? Who do I have following me? Do I have people who are following me and questioning me and doubting what I am doing? Do I have just a crowd of people that are making so much noise around me that they don't even really know what I'm doing and are not supporting me? They're just almost distracting me? Or am I surrounded by naysayers? By those who are so threatened by me changing that they are discouraging me from my change, my own growth. So as we walk our path, we want to be aware of not only who we are, but we also want to be aware of those that we have around us. Sometimes part of the releasing is also in releasing some of the people around us. Christ tells us in these days, he tells his followers, let not your heart be troubled, trust. Walking the path to personal transformation requires faith, it requires trust. And I think sometimes it requires not even so much trust in God, but trust in ourselves, that we are able to hear that still small voice, and trusting ourselves to commit to what we are hearing. As we release that which does not serve the highest idea and we embrace new ways of being, this idea of the greater good will unfold organically in our lives. It's a process of allowing. It is a process of aligning with what already is. Michael Beckwith says, where there is a willingness, there is a way. Where there is willfulness, there is a wall. We must be willing to allow Spirit to move through us. It's really, I don't want to say it's simple. The process is simple, but the work is hard. But we don't have to make anything happen. We simply rest in the awareness that the vision, the greater idea that is being revealed to us is already complete. So I invite you to commit to transformation. Be willing to do the spiritual work of releasing and embracing. Become an instrument of the divine. We can fulfill our purpose of being, which is a unique manifestation of the divine, living and loving and creating a world in which each and every person lives in alignment with his or her own highest spiritual principle. It's an individual path. It is an individual transformation. We are all being called to allow Spirit to move through us. As we do this, as we emphasize the unity with God and a connection with each other in our own unique ways, a world in which individually and collectively we are called to this higher state of consciousness, we are all grounded and inspired by love, beauty, joy, and compassion. We live with curiosity, awareness, mindfulness to this higher idea, and we commit to walking our own path to personal transformation. As I close today, just invite you to take a moment to contemplate the inner light. That love of spirit that moves into us and through us. The light of God, the peace, the harmony, the prosperity, the love of spirit. Allow yourself to be transformed by love. I recognize that there is only one power, one presence. It is spirit which seeks to be expressed through me and as me. And as I acknowledge this higher idea, this higher expression of who I am, I know that this highest expression is seeking to be expressed through all beings. For we are one. We are one in heart. We are one in mind. We are one in being with spirit. And so I just acknowledge that this presence of God is within, around, above, below, and expressing through me right now, as it is expressing through you. And in this holy week, I know that every day I am living and walking on holy ground, that I am constantly guided by the light of Christ within me, making my way clear, my path possible, and my life sacred. I know that just as the disciples and the crowd screamed, Hosanna, as Jesus moved triumphantly into Jerusalem, I too can move triumphantly through every circumstance, bringing the love of truth to each activity and every encounter in my life. The healings and the revelations pour naturally and powerful through me as I acknowledge and I praise the power of one. And I give thanks that all is accomplished with ease and grace. I give thanks for the power, the presence of that higher consciousness which lifts me up, propels me, guides me, impels me towards my own greatest good that is seeking to be expressed. And so from this place, I release my word and I let it go and I let it be.